Okay, so today we're going to journey back to 1997. I'll take you through some events that were happening in the world, some of the movie releases, some of my own personal favourite movies that I saw, some of the album releases, what was number one in the charts, and then I'll talk about the gigs that I went to that year. My name is Ricky and welcome to my channel, Gig in 60 Seconds. In the US, there was a civil suit taken out by Ron Goldman's family against O.J. Simpson for the murder of Goldman and Simpson's ex-wife at the time. He was ordered to pay something like $66 million in damages, adjusted for inflation.
O.J. Simpson left the courthouse last night, betraying no emotion, branded a killer, despite having been found not guilty of the murders just 16 months ago.
In the sporting world, there was a massive fight that took place. I remember this because I was on holiday in Tenerife when I actually watched it. It was Evander Holyfield against Mike Tyson. This fight was quite famous because in the third round, Tyson actually bit Holyfield's ear. He bit like a 1-inch chunk of his ear off and it landed on the canvas. It was mental. Like, the referee stopped the fight and then it was only after like a 2-point deduction they restarted the fight, and then I think Tyson went and bit Holyfield's other ear. So obviously the fight gets stopped and Holyfield got awarded the win, but it was just crazy goings on. Like, what makes you do such a thing? Nutter. Also in the sporting world, you had Tiger Woods won his first ever major, which was the US Masters, at the age of 21. It was a then record score. I think he won it by 12 shots ahead of the next person in second. He was also the first non-white player to win the US Masters. In the UK, we got the launch of a new free terrestrial channel, which was Channel 5. There was also the withdrawal of the old 50p coin. That was a big, massive, heavy-shaped septagon-sided coin. And we get issued with a much lighter one. I can't believe that was like 28 years ago. It doesn't seem that long ago. There was also some new children's television characters introduced to us in the form of Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala and Po, which were the Teletubbies. This programme aired early in the morning. It was these 4 strange wee creatures that lived underground, and there was a sun thing in the sky and they made wee stupid noises like "Ayo, hello, hi."
Tinky Winky,
Tinky Winky,
Dipsy,
Dipsy,
La La,
La La,
Po,
Po,
Teletubbies, Lo.
Okay, the most notable event for the year though was obviously the death of Princess Diana, who died in a car crash. I remember this hitting the news headlines. I mean, it was on the news for days on end, but the actual day she died, I'd been away with my then work down at Blackpool for the day, cracking day in the sun, and we get in like very early in the morning, and I just remember like my mum coming in to me like a few hours later and saying, "Have you seen the news? Have you heard the news? Princess Diana's died," and putting the telly on and seeing pictures of like the police car and ambulance and stuff like that. So that was all we heard for like the next few days. And I believe the funeral, when it was cast, it was an audience of 32 million in the UK, which is basically about half the population tuned in to watch the funeral. There was also 258 million people worldwide which watched it apparently. So one of the notable events from that funeral was the fact that Elton John performed Candle in the Wind, and he actually changed the lyrics and some of the verses on it. This song would obviously be synonymous with the event and the death of Princess Diana, and there was, I think it was about just under 5 million copies of the song. So obviously that was the top selling song of 1997. Second highest selling single was actually Barbie Girl by Aqua, if you remember that pure cheesy video with the "Come on Barbie, let's go party, oh 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 oh." you'll know the song, I'm sure. And the third selling song was "I'll Be Missing You" by P Diddy and Faith Evans, and it was actually a really good track. I remember listening to that quite a lot in clubs at the time. It sampled the Police's "Every Breath You Take," and yeah, it was quite a good song. Okay, some memorable album releases from me in the metal world were Faith No More with Album of the Year. That spawned some great songs on it, such as Last Cup of Sorrow, Strip Shirts, and Ashes to Ashes. And it was also the follow-up album to King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. Bruce Dickinson released another solo album, Accident of Birth, and Megadeth had an album, Cryptic Writings, released. Pantera released an album called 101 Proof, which consisted of 16 live songs, including all your sort of greatest hits if you want, such as Walk, fucking Hostile, Cemetery Gates, and a really good album. Metallica followed up with another new album just after Load the year before. They had Reload this year, which also clocked in at quite a long time. It was 76 minutes. There's some really good songs in that. Ones that stand out were The Unforgiven 2, The Memory Remains, and Fuel. Fuel was a really good song, just the way it starts off. Give me fuel, give me that shit I desire. Okay, in the movie world, the highest grossing films were Titanic, and that would remain the highest grossing film for years until Avatar came along later on. This was the sort of film that really launched the career of Leonardo DiCaprio. He was the main sort of character along with Kate Winslet, and they were on this ship, the Titanic obviously, and it crashes when it hits an iceberg and there's a hole in the ship and starts sinking. But the film sort of features on the exploits of DiCaprio and Winslet, and she came from a nice well-to-do family and he was just a pauper, and she fancied him. She was due to be married to someone else and she didn't want to get married to him since she found DiCaprio attractive, and there's some escapades in the boat, shall we say. If you've seen it, then you'll know what I'm talking about. Second grossing film was the follow-up to Jurassic Park, which was Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. And the third best grossing film was Men in Black starring Will Smith in another Alien film.
I knew it. This is an alien and you guys are from some government agency trying to keep it under wraps.
No. He actually had a really good single from this, the Men in Black song. I thought that was actually pretty good.
Just slide with me, just slide with me, just slide with me, come on.
I actually remember some different films from that year though, because I had actually won a Cineworld pass for a whole year. So I went to the cinema quite a lot with a pal who, well, it was actually two cards, so they had a card as well. So we went to the cinema quite a lot and saw some really bad films such as Anaconda, about a big massive snake in the jungle. It was only about 70 minutes long or 75 minutes long. We also saw sort of documentary film, The People versus Larry Flint, which is all about the pornography industry. We saw Beavis and Butthead Do America, obviously Beavis and Butthead from the MTV, featuring the two sort of rocker guys and the annoying wee sort of grunt noises that they made. One of the other films I saw, I think we went and saw twice, was Con Air, which featured Nicolas Cage in it. I always think he looks like the Nickelback singer, Chad Kroeger. Every time I see them, I just think they look the same. This was a bit of a weird film. He was a convict. He'd been accused of murder when he was actually in sort of self-defence. And they were all put on this massive plane, and the convicts hijacked the plane and they were trying to break free when they touched down the other island. And I've not seen it for years and years, but I do remember it was quite funny and just totally unbelievable. Another film that saw that year was I Know What You Did Last Summer, and this was kind of piggybacking on the Scream film from the year before. It was another kind of jump scare film. It featured on I think it was 4 14s, and they were out driving and they knock over somebody and they think that they've killed them. So they decide to make a pact not to tell anyone, and they try and dump the body in the river. But the next year, they all start getting these notes from somebody saying, I know what you did last summer, and this person appears and tries to like kill them all. But yeah, it was a good film. So yeah, that's the films that I remember from that year. Okay, so now to the first gig, or the gig that didn't actually happen for me. You'll notice that I've got 2 tickets here with the stub still on them. So, oh man, nightmare. So I had 2 tickets to see Faith No More. Obviously, was super excited. I loved the King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime album. And then they released Album of the Year. So I had tickets to the Barrowlands. However, this was the age of like no mobile phone. I didn't have a diary. So I basically just lost track of the date and missed the event. And what kills me is I remember what I was doing. I was delivering Salvation Army leaflets for the Boys Brigade at the time. And a soaking wet night, get absolutely soaked, freezing cold. And then it was about a week later, I remember I had tickets to this gig. So I was absolutely gutted. I looked back and I could see that the set list looked really good from it. They played 5 songs from King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime, 5 off the new album. And yeah, it would have been such a good night. So I was so disappointed in myself because they would split up in 1998, and I would think that was, I lost my chance to go and see them. So it's interesting as well, from the set list, it's saying that they actually couldn't play one of the songs because they were late in appearing, because they'd been on TGI Friday earlier that day performing Ashes to Ashes. And I'm showing you the footage in the background here. Okay, so it's interesting that the TGI Friday programme went out at 6 o'clock, and they used to start with a band playing, and then they would have one at the end of the programme. So I don't know if Faith No More like played bang on 6 o'clock and then have rushed away to get a plane from London up to Glasgow and then through to the Barrowlands. Like, that would have been incredibly tight, because I know that the show used to go out live, but then Shaun Ryder was on it a couple of times and swore, and then I think it was like a delayed broadcast, so you know, maybe they filmed it a bit earlier in the day, and then, you know, they were still late getting there. I don't know, it'd be interesting if anybody was at the gig in Glasgow, like, let me know if you remember what time they came on stage, because I can't find anything from it. Okay, so the only gig that I actually went to in 1997 was Megadeth at the Barrowlands. I wouldn't call myself like a massive Megadeth fan, if I'm being totally honest. I first got into them when I'd bought a Kerrang album way back in 1992. It was this brown double cassette, and they had a song In My Darkest Hour on it. It was about 6 minutes long, and I thought that was a really good song. My mate Paul, he had the Rust in Peace album, and he bought the Countdown to Extinction album, and he used to play that one quite a lot. So I think it's weird. I think Dave Mustaine's got like such a weird voice. It's like, if you listen to Sweating Bullets, you know, when he's giving it the, hello me, it's me again. Well, it's nice talking to myself, and all these bits, like, it sounds, I don't know, it's a weird sound. Like, there's a lot of good guitar bits on their songs. When the chance for the ticket came up, bought tickets to it, and I was quite excited because I did quite like the Symphony Destruction album. So on the night itself, I remember they played a couple of tracks that I knew, such as Angry Again, Hangar 18, which was one of my personal favourites, just the way that starts with the guitar, with the solos and getting faster. I think that's a really good track. And then the Countdown to Extinction songs, they had Sweating Bullets and Symphony of Destruction. So yeah, that was quite a good night. I think they played 15 or 16 songs in total. So yeah, that was good, but it was the only actual one from that year. So I don't know what happened. I think I was maybe going too many holidays. Anyway, if you were there and saw this concert, or if you saw any of them on the European tour, let me know in the comments. Till next time, have a good day.